Hello and welcome to another real estate video. This is Javy, the real estate YouTube guy here in Phoenix, Arizona, helping you accomplish your home goals. So this video came to me as I was meeting one of our current buyers who actually met me through YouTube. So big shout out to Victor. Here's his Instagram. He gave me permission to shout him out. Dude, this dude, he walked in. He's calculated, has glasses, very polished. And then I looked up his Instagram when we were talking and he's a skater, man. He's like really cool. So give him a shout out. Go ahead and follow him. Send him a comment, send him a message, tell him you found him here. Give him some love, and he's a really great dude. So anyways, he comes into my office, we start talking, and we do the whole presentation as I usually do. And then he hits me like at the very end with these like hard-hitting questions. They're just like boom, boom, boom. And I was like, wow. But I was loving it the whole time. Like, these are really high quality questions. And it got me to thinking, well, I can't really, if you're in Phoenix, Arizona, I can meet with you, I can help you out, I can give you my best, right? And then you can get to know me, and then that way you kind of see, if you're a realtor. But if you're in another state, if I didn't recommend you someone, then you're on your own trying to find the right realtor. So in this video, we're gonna talk about 5 questions to ask your realtor or a realtor when you're interviewing them for the job. So when you're selling a house, it's very common to have realtors and coming to your house and you interview maybe 2 or 3 of them. People might feel the need to do that then because you're actually paying them a commission to sell your house. But when we're buying a house, we just tend to go with the first realtor that we meet. We either meet them at an open house or, a cousin or recommended them. So you just meet them and you start looking at houses. You didn't really do a good job interviewing them or going with it. So this video is to kind of help you and tell you, yeah, you should go interview 1 or 2 realtors. And if you first realtor you interview you like, then don't interview anyone else. That's fine. First of all, if they don't have a consultation with you, then probably consider working with someone else. But secondly, when you do meet the consultation with them, it's not just an educational thing. Yes, you might not know much about buying a house, but use the opportunity to interview them and ask them these 5 hard-hitting questions. And depending on how they answer, it should give you a good indication on if they're a good person and fit for the job. The first question you should ask your realtor is, are you full-time or are you part-time? Now, a lot of these questions you're gonna ask and they're gonna know the right thing to say, but really look out for their answers. If they go and say, well, yeah, I work full time, and then they seem kind of shifty, we'll be like, well, what did you do before real estate? And then, start asking questions about their work history, what led them to become a realtor, why are they a realtor now when their other job was going well? But really look out for the little details. Some realtors out there have a full-time job and they're just doing this part-time. And this is not a good fit for you, because if you're working with a part-time realtor and you call them at 2 p.m. one day and they return your call the next day at 5, or they say, yeah, we can go look, or maybe you have the day off and they go, hey, can we look at this house at 4 o'clock? And they can say, oh no, we can do tomorrow though, or hey, let's look in the weekend, or whatever. You start noticing these things that don't help you. Maybe when you're looking at houses, it's not a big deal because you're working around your schedule. But once you're in escrow and it's during the week and you have a question, well, it kind of sucks to be working with someone that can only answer your question after 6 p.m. because their boss is watching them. You know what I mean? You want to work with someone who's a full-time realtor who all they focus on is real estate. That way they have your full attention, right? If they need anything or you need anything, you guys have each other's back. You don't have to worry about a third party or a boss or who. I was working with the realtor once and they worked at the DMV, and to contact this dude, you needed to call the DMV directly and then get transferred, and he would be like, hey, yeah, negotiating, yeah, okay, yeah, my seller can do 4,000, can you do 2,000? Like, it's like, dude, come on. The second question to ask your real estate agent is, are you a good communicator? And then follow it up with, what is one problem that you can work with on your communication? A lot of realtors have the knack of not being good with communication, meaning responding to your calls or texts or whatever. Now, if you text someone, it's, if it's the middle of the day or in the morning and they respond to you afternoon, I mean, it's not a big deal, right? As long as they don't wait till after 4 or 5. However, if you call somebody and they don't call you back until 2 days later, there's a clear issue of communication. So really get into the deep meats and potatoes of what is their communication about. What's their best form of communication? Do they prefer to email, text, or call? When you're in the escrow process, how many times are you going to get updated on what's going on? There's nothing worse than being in the middle of a serious negotiation and not being in the loop about anything. And with the follow-up question of what can you work on your communication, hopefully they can give a sincere, honest answer to that. If they tell you, yeah, if I'm out with my family and I see your message, I might not respond till after we're done. If I'm always seeing the messages, and if it's something serious, I'll drop what I'm doing and I'll call you. If you call me, I'll answer. And if I don't answer, then it's my priority to call you back right away. So you don't want to look for people that are being too crazy too. Like if you tell them, hey, because you're getting communication, and they go,
it doesn't matter if my wife is in the hospital or my baby's sick, I'm going to answer your call right away.
Third question you should ask the realtor you're interviewing is, why should I hire you? Now, this was a really fun one because it's really a good indication of getting into the mindset of this realtor, right? When he asked me that, I was like, whew, all right, let's get to it. So usually a realtor will respond with, something. Well, the answer you should be looking out for is not necessarily something particular, but hopefully at that point they go and talk about something they're passionate about. I do this because of my family. I do this to help people. I'm trying to, make a business so I can help others, whatever the case may be. Now, if you meet with a realtor and they go, yeah, I'm just trying to make some money, on the side, I'm just trying to, get bills, then probably don't work with them. But the real trick here is most realtors are not dumb. They're not going to answer, the real intent. So really try to analyze what they're telling you. And if it's something that you relate with, like if you're working with a family man and they tell you, yeah, I work my butt off because I want my family's future to be secure, but more importantly, I'm trying to do this, this, and this, then you're going to relate to that, right? If they're going and telling you, yes, in a really straight face, I do this because I'm passionate about helping people and I'm passionate about families and I want to help the world be better, and they're just giving you whatever, right? Your real estate agent should be the person you trust the most in the entire real estate transaction. So if you like the answer you hear from this question, this is probably the question that's going to win your heart over and say, yes, I want to work with this person. Question number 4 to ask your realtor you're interviewing: how are you going to handle the negotiating part of it? So there's 3 main negotiations you do in the real estate purchase: your initial offer that you do, your inspections, and your appraisal. This offer part is more or less about getting the house under contract. We could put the house under contract for $1 million over list price. At the end of the day, it's not the house it's going to sell for. The only thing the list price and the contract price is the price that we happen to agree on that made us get our offer accepted, right? So you can do your inspections, and inspections is going to come with those negotiations for sure. But the main source of negotiations in a real estate transaction is the appraisal. Meaning, if the appraisal comes in at value, then you're buying the house at the price it's worth, and there's nothing to negotiate about. You move on. But if the price comes in under value, this is where a person really determines their value here, right? So if you're buying a house for $250 and it appraises at $240, well then there's some negotiation to be done. So as they're talking about negotiating, make sure they're touching on these things. But more importantly, if they really don't give you a solid answer, a follow-up question should be, well, how are you going to handle a low appraisal? Or maybe, how are you going to handle a bad inspection? Or how are you going to handle if we do our inspection and the AC is broken? Or how are you going to handle if there are multiple offer situation? So each one of these things has the worst case scenario. So if they don't give you a thought out answer, really dig deep. How are you going to handle these things? A good realtor is going to talk to you through experience. Everyone has a different way of doing things. So, just really look out for someone that's going to look out for your interests. You don't want to hire a realtor who's just going to freeze up when something goes wrong. Realtors are great when everything's going smoothly, and they're on top of the world, and maybe they might get great reviews from people that just had a smooth transaction. But a good realtor knows how to handle the bumps in the road, but not only handles them, but turns a negative into a positive. And the 5th and final question to ask your realtor is, what is your primary focus? Or in other words, what's your main source of clientele? This is kind of like piggybacking off question number 3, which is, why should I hire you? So what is a realtor's primary focus? Like, what are you doing with your life? Why are you a realtor? What keeps you awake at night? What lets you move forward? This is going to give you a really good source of what their business is about. Now, if you're meeting with the realtor that does 100 transactions a month, but they're all coming through Zillow, they have no referrals whatsoever, then that's a big sign of like, hey, why aren't people referring this guy, right? When he's working so hard for these people, right? So it must be not a good sign. Or vice versa, you might find a realtor whose all business comes through referrals, which is really great. That means they're doing such a great job that they're just working with referrals. If that's the case, how many is it? Is it 4 a year? If it's 4 a year, then that's not really much experience there. Or maybe you'll find a realtor that does a nice mix of 50-50, like, hey, I get half referrals, half of it through this source. So whatever the point is, really go into this. After asking these 5 questions, you're gonna get a very clear picture of the person that's in front of you. All of it could be complete bullshit. There's some sociopaths out there that can really fake their way through something, but let's most of the time, let's assume they're gonna tell the truth. And if you start seeing red flags throughout the transaction, like or doing showings, like they said they're really good and they're always on time, but they showed up an hour late, well, then that's a red flag, right? So if they lied about that, are they lying about other things? Usually there's always, benefit of the doubt. Sometimes there'd be a bad situation. Don't get me wrong, I've been late for showings too. But if you start seeing multiple red flags, then trust your gut, guys. I think that's really the most important thing about this. Whatever they tell you, listen to it. And what does your gut tell you? If your gut tells you it's a good person in front of you that's going to help you, then work with them. If your gut's telling you, I don't know, well then really dig deep. Why don't you know? Ask them the questions. And if they still don't answer them, in the way that you think comfortable with, well then odds are is you're either too picky or you trust your gut and find someone else. So thank you guys so much for watching, and time for the announcement. I have now set up a system for anyone looking for any referrals outside of Phoenix, Arizona. I am now going to help you guys out. I have made a separate video describing what's the system and process of a referral out of state is going to work. Now, I'm not going to guarantee you that the realtor that I'm going to introduce to you is going to be the perfect realtor of all time, but it's going to at least get you started with something. And this is a good video to watch before you go and meet that realtor. That way you can get a good indication of what they're about. So there's the video. If you haven't seen it, take a peek at it. Every video you watch from now on will also have a link of that video below. So if you're looking for a realtor and you're not Phoenix, Arizona, click that video and it'll give you a good idea of where to start and what the system and process is. And if you are in Phoenix, Arizona and you're looking for a real estate agent, my contact information can be found below. Give me a call, give me a text, shoot me an email, do what you never need to do. Let's get started. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day.